Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Marques White.
And I am Mr. Nick Cavalli.
And this is the Wrevolution Pro Wrestling Podcast. And you're watching episode 10 of the Weekend Wrap-Up, the show where we cover all the news from this past week. And we also review Friday Night SmackDown and Monday Night Raw.
All right, so before we get jumping into things, I do have an apology to make. Our revolutionaries, our fans have finally started to come back to the product slowly, but surely. We're pulling them down the rabbit hole once more. You guys have showed up to watch some of our videos, including a really, really popular World Wrestling Classic video, which we will be doing our next episode of tomorrow. Well, taping it tomorrow, and we'll see when it comes out. But I just wanted to say thank you guys for interacting with us, and thank you guys for working with us to get to where we are, despite our current situation. Yes. Nameless situation.
Yes. So...
Looking at you, YouTube.
So let's go ahead and start off, as usual, with the Friday Night SmackDown review. And SmackDown, per usual, was pretty bad. Not really a lot to talk about this week. At least last week we had a couple segments to really delve into. This week felt very cut and dry. What say you?
This was bad. This was really bad.
Yeah.
I don't care. Like, I don't. You want to talk about hashtag nap mode? Watch me watch SmackDown.
Yeah. Yes, SmackDown. I mean, I get, and see, this is why, and it was kind of tongue in cheek, like when we put out our video, the Wednesday Night Wars, this past week, and me and Nick get very impassioned when talking about Wednesday Night Wrestling, because that's the type of emotion that it invokes out of us when you're watching something that you care about, truly care about, and you can tell that they care about, that they're putting the effort truly into what they're doing, so we're going to give back what's given to us. And unfortunately, it seems like SmackDown just is not putting forth that effort, and that's kind of the sad part about it. So it's hard to get super fired up and emotional about Friday Night SmackDown when it doesn't make me feel that way. It just makes me want to go to sleep or change the channel.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. You and I have talked about this in the past. We do get very fired up on Wednesday nights, and quite often on Monday nights we get into debates and stuff like that. But on SmackDown, there's nothing to debate. There's no enthusiasm, because you sit down, you watch 2 hours, and you go, wow, why did I waste 2 hours of my life? So why am I then going to waste another hour and a half talking about it when I can only waste 15 minutes and talk about something more important like Raw?
There's a reason that we have to pull debates out of thin air, like arguing about the what are they? I almost said the Fallen Order. The
Forgotten Sons.
The Forgotten Sons.
About our life.
I forgot about the Forgotten Sons. How dare I?
Are they a military stable or are they not? Go. Yeah, like we have to pull that kind of stuff out of thin air because SmackDown sucks.
Yeah, I mean, and I've said it before, and other YouTubers have stated this, and we've been saying this forever. I mean, I'd be honest with you. If you're a wrestling fan, save yourself the trouble. Don't watch Raw and SmackDown. Just watch our review. We're doing this to help you. I mean, honestly.
Quite frankly, we're more entertaining than SmackDown. Even us, we're bottom tier. I mean, we're top tier. It's just people don't understand that we're top tier, so we're bottom tier. You get what I'm saying? Like, we're so good, we're bad. It's like Eminem. Eminem gets hated on because he's so great. That's how it is. We're so great that we don't have the love and respect that we deserve.
Truly tragic.
MJF. We are MJF. So when it comes down to it, it's more entertaining to sit down and watch a YouTube review show than it is to watch Friday Night SmackDown and most times Monday Night Raw. So if you're a wrestling fan who doesn't have a lot of time on your hands and you're trying to figure out Am I going to watch the product or am I going to watch the review show? You watch the review show.
Yeah,
Unless it's Wednesday night.
It's definitely better to, if, at least in my opinion, to sit down and watch, an hour and a half, 2 hour review show than watch 3 hours of Monday Night Raw and 2 hours of SmackDown. Like, it's so bad. It really is. I mean, that's 5 hours of your week gone. We can cover everything that happened in 2, sometimes 2.5. But, you get the idea. So, let's go ahead and get into Friday Night SmackDown. So, SmackDown kicked off with Daniel Bryan versus King Corbin in a match that no one cares about, in a feud that no one cares about. It's kind of a shame, honestly, what's been happening with Daniel Bryan. I was so excited for his return, and I mean, it's all right. I mean, look, I'm not gonna sit here and act like I'm so upset over the mistreatment of King Corbin, because I never really cared about Baron Corbin, if I'm being honest. Like, when he got the King Corbin gimmick and he was, good things were happening, I was like, well, that's nice, like, cool. I'm glad to see him getting a little push. But, back to status quo, whatever. Corbin's just kind of, he's never been that guy to really push the needle for me. So, I don't know. But it does make me sad what's happening with Daniel Bryan, especially, you're throwing people like Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura into this, which, God, there's so much talent on SmackDown just being completely misused. It's honestly tragic what's happening on Friday nights. But this is, I don't even really want to get into the results or really to break down what happened in the match. I mean, the results, Bryan wins via disqualification, but it doesn't matter. Something that I did care about, actually, is what happened between Braun Strowman and The Fiend, Bray Wyatt. So Strowman comes out and he's about to cut a promo, but he gets interrupted by Bray Wyatt and the Firefly Funhouse.
We're really happy that you're our friend. This is a friendship that will never ever end.
So Bray Wyatt starts telling a story, the tale of the Black Sheep. Talks about how he the shepherd found the sheep, took him in, and then the Black Sheep left, abandoned the shepherd for greener pastures. And then soon all the other animals the shepherd took care of abandoned him as well. And, the Black Sheep never apologized. He never said goodbye, said he's sorry for leaving. He just left, and that made the shepherd very sad. What a tragic ending. But, maybe we can rewrite that ending, where maybe the shepherd finds the Black Sheep, makes him realize the mistakes that he's made, and takes from the Black Sheep what he values most. And then he'll send the Black Sheep straight to the slaughterhouse. So,
uncomfortable.
So I like this a lot. Strowman would end up cutting off Bray Wyatt, but he challenges him to come out and say whatever he's got to say to his face, and then Bray Wyatt decides he's done. He's just, bye, see you soon, and then, so I would assume that's leading to a confrontation between The Fiend and Braun Strowman on this week's episode of SmackDown, as that would be the go-home show before Money in the Bank. So this is the best thing that's happening on SmackDown right now. It's the only thing that's catching my attention week in and week out. And despite how absolutely terrified I am for the match, because I'm worried about WWE messing up either one of these amazing characters, I'm still looking forward to it. It's still going to be a great match. It's a great feud, a great storyline. I'm so scared for this.
I'm also looking forward to it, but here's the issue. There's almost no right way to do this. Do you get that feeling too? Like there's no right way to do this match?
Well, yeah, we talked about it. Like they booked themselves into a corner. This is something that you did not have to do this soon. This should have taken place months in advance.
The only thing I could say that the only way you do this right is either you make Bray look like an absolute monster, or you somehow have Braun win. Because everybody thinks Bray's winning going into this. Tell me if you think you think that Braun Strowman is beating Bray Wyatt. I'll tell you that you're lying to me. Everyone thinks Bray is going in. He's going to win this matchup. So maybe shock us a little bit. Give us a little surprise.
Well, here's my thing is that I don't see it as like, oh, Bray's guaranteed to win here, because I feel like that's why I'm so worried about this, is because, again, neither character, whether it be Braun Strowman or Bray Wyatt, has been booked to its maximum effectiveness. Bray Wyatt got hurt by the Goldberg thing, and subsequently having to face John Cena at WrestleMania, which ended up being phenomenal, but he got taken out of the title picture, the main event that he so rightfully deserved. And Braun Strowman's been done wrong for so long that you can't go right or wrong with either booking decision, because it's just, if you have Braun Strowman lose, it's just, a return to form. Oh, Braun Strowman's back to not being able to win the big ones. And if you have Bray Wyatt lose, then it's, that's just another nail in the coffin for the Fiend character. So that's why I see that this is just, it's too soon. This should have taken place. And I said in advance, I meant to say further down the line. I'm worried about this, but for my money, I do think that it's going to be Bray Wyatt, but it's about 50-50 for me, honestly, between who actually could win this match, because I just honestly don't know where WWE is going to go with this, and hopefully they're somehow able to weasel their way out of the horrible predicament that they've put themselves in with this match.
Best of luck on that, Vince and co.
Next, we have a squash match. So I'm going to go ahead and just move on. There was something in there about Sheamus and Jeff Hardy, and I don't care.
Sheamus v. Jeff Hardy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the match that everybody wants to see, right? So next we have Carmella versus Mandy. And this wasn't great. This wasn't great. Carmella actually does pick up the victory here via a distraction from one Sonya Deville. She, of course, hits the super kick, and that's how she picks up the win. After the match, Sonya Deville comes out and starts attacking Mandy Rose, throwing her into steel steps, yada, yada, yada. Officials come out, separate, yada, yada, yada. So we're finally getting more of that one-on-one between Sonya and Mandy. Does it kind of feel like it's too little too late, though?
Maybe a little bit. You let it go a little bit stale. Now let's just hope that you're able to fire the Jets back up and get this rivalry going. Get this feud really starting to come to the forefront of the women's division. Well, maybe not the forefront, but, the higher mid-card of the women's division on SmackDown.
So next, we get the men who shall not be forgotten, despite me forgetting their name at the beginning of the show. The Forgotten Sons versus the New Day. And surprising results here, as they have now... That not only did they knock off the former tag champions last week, but this week they defeated the tag team champions. What is happening?
That's okay. They're going to lose to the Lucha House Party next week.
Apparently WWE has some serious plans for the Forgotten Sons. Talk about strapping the rocket ship on these guys. I mean, they were just a couple months ago on NXT losing to I forget their names. They haven't been seen on TV in such a long time.
Grizzled young vets,
and now they're over here knocking off the New Day and Miz and Morrison. Like, what
No,
is?
man, I'm telling you, next week they lose to the Lucha House Party. It's that 50-50 booking. That's how that works, right?
No, they're. I think Forgotten Sons. They've clearly got the rocket ship firmly attached to their back, and WWE has some serious plans for them going forward. It's definitely nice to see finally another tag team on SmackDown, and they're being made to look competent. So I'm not upset about it. I'm just a little caught off guard, but it's nice to see.
Return of the Great American Bash confirmed.
Yikes. So next we get kind of a strange promo here, an interview from Tamina, and I'm gonna be real, I don't like this, and here's why I don't like this. So Tamina, her entire career has been pushed as this like big unstoppable. Well, she's supposed to be unstoppable. She always loses, but this big unstoppable monster. Someone who you should fear, and she's been heel majority of her career. She's been the bully, for lack of better words, and then she goes into a promo about how she refuses to be bullied by mean girls Sasha Banks and Bayley. What are you talking about? You are the mean girl. Like, did I miss something? Like, teeny tiny Bayley, I'm more afraid, like, what is this? Like, does anyone truly believe that Bayley is intimidating? Even at this point, does anyone believe that Sasha Banks is intimidating? Like, what is scary about them? And they're supposed to be the big bad bullies of Friday nights, the women's division. Like, no, you're Tamina Snuka. You're like 6'2", like over 200 pounds. What are you talking about?
You are more terrified of my cat than you are of Bayley.
Yes.
To be fair, my cat tried to kill you once, but
I don't understand this at all. Like, does WWE not understand? No, clearly they don't understand their own talent at all. The gimmicks that they've bestowed upon these people.
I just don't get it anymore. I don't understand it. Like, it's okay when you do some goofy stuff, like have someone significantly smaller, like, and I don't even want to call it goofy because Rey Mysterio's run with the World Heavyweight Championship was very, very magical, but to have somebody smaller like that win and to have roles be different and to have roles be out there, but this is just like classic sandbox villain bully.
Well, no, I'll do you one better. We've seen this before done way better with Alexa Bliss and Nia Jax. Yes. They told that bully storyline where Nia Jax is the larger woman. She could snap Alexa in two, but Alexa was the champion. Alexa had played Nia like she was her friend, manipulated her emotions. She teased her, made her feel like crap, reminded her of her childhood. So that made sense. That was psychological manipulation. That was something that everyone in the crowd could relate to, the pretty princess, like, champion type, like, the whole, like, oh, she's the pretty mean girl, like, picking on the poor, oversized girl, like that. Everyone could relate to that. I can't relate to Tamina Snuka getting bullied by Bayley and Sasha Banks because, first of all, when did she get bullied by them? Did I miss something? I mean, last time I checked, Tamina was out here destroying Sasha Banks, so I don't recall her being bullied at all. And I don't feel bad for someone who can go out and legitimately murder the competition, who's been the mean girl the majority of her career, and up until this point still the mean girl. So what emotion am I supposed to evoke? Am I supposed to fear Tamina? Like, is it like I'm they can't intimidate me because I'm the bully? Like, is that what I'm supposed to get? Like, I don't understand what emotions are supposed to be evoked from this promo. I really don't. And then she gets attacked after by Bayley, but I honestly just don't understand where they're going with this. The women's division is such a mess on SmackDown. It really is. Hence why I will continue to say every week, I don't care what anyone has to say about Charlotte. Her run with the NXT Championship and what they're doing over on NXT with the women's division is 10 times better than anything that's being done on SmackDown and Raw. Hey, you seen Becky Lynch? Is Becky around? Anyone seen the Raw Women's Champion? Because I seem to have forgotten who the champion is for the women's division on Raw, because we haven't seen her since Mania. My God, I mean, you get a semi-truck and you go full Brock Lesnar? Like, Jesus Christ. It's ridiculous.
Well, look, Brock, first of all, Brock, you're still under contract, so where have you been? Y'all could be cutting that money very easily. Second of all, Brock's not there to do the Brock thing, so someone needs to do it, right?
I mean, we've had a little bit of Adam Cole doing that on NXT, too.
Yep. I mean, you could argue Mox did it, but he wasn't at the taping, and then they were just like, yeah, here's the next 8 weeks of AEW.
Yep.
He showed up twice still somehow.
So, I want to go ahead and finish SmackDown so we can move on to something that's way more important. Otis defeats Dolph Ziggler. Cool. I hope that's the end of that. I'm so done with the storyline. I thought we were done with it at WrestleMania. Clearly we were not. And I'm so done with Friday Night SmackDown. This is just, I just don't. Alright, so let's move on now to a show that I actually kind of cared about, but only because it did a really good job of pissing me off, and that's Monday Night Raw. So, General Manager Montel Vontavious Porter, as I have now dubbed him, seeing as he's apparently... Yeah, GMVP, as he's the only, I guess, authority figure on Raw. I mean, he makes matches, he conducts segments and interviews backstage. By all means, the man's an authority figure, so at least that's what it looks like as of right now. I mean, I did read a news report that WWE is actually trying to create a stable with MVP at the forefront, and he's going to take a lot of underutilized guys around in the card and try to build them up, gain them some respect. So hopefully that does happen, so we can actually see MVP, do something. I mean, we've been kind of seeing it with Brendan Vink and Shane Thorne, so maybe that goes somewhere. I don't know. But, yeah, we kicked off Raw with MVP's VIP Lounge, and, he did the male competitors in the Money Bank last week, so why not do the women? So this week, it's female participants in the Money in the Bank match, and that is Shayna Baszler, Nia Jax, and Asuka. So, this was a whole lot of nothing here. So you have Nia Jax do her standard, I'm the big girl, I'm
the big dog.
Yeah, pretty much. You see what I did to people these last couple weeks? That's what I'm going to do with Money in the Bank. And then we have... Well, they are both Samoan. Well, we have Asuka, who then proceeds to, what I can only assume, curse everyone in the ring and their mothers out in Japanese. Then finally, Shayna Baszler, who just kind of looks around and she's like, I don't need to talk. I'm a badass. Like, I do my talking in the ring. To which Asuka proceeds to go on another tirade in Japanese. Shayna stands up. She does a little bit of this, talk, whatever. That's all you're good for, Asuka, is talking. I mean, you know what I do in the ring, right? I mean, we all saw what I did to you, right? That makes Asuka very upset. They face off. Asuka continues to berate Shayna in Japanese. And then, finally, I don't know if Shayna, in her time off, has picked up Japanese as a second language, or if it was some type of Jedi mind trick, I don't know, but somehow Shayna picked up from said tirade that Asuka wanted them both to attack Nia Jax, so that's what they did. They both attacked Nia.
This is not the fight that you were looking for.
Yes, they attack Nia, send her out of the ring, they face off. I don't care. This didn't do anything for anybody. The women's division on Raw is just in such a poor, pitiful state. I mean, look at Shayna. She's been trying to build herself up ever since losing the match everyone knew she should have won at WrestleMania. She's already destroyed the entire card. Like, when she's facing off with Asuka, I don't care. Like, we've already seen that. Shayna destroyed Asuka, so it doesn't matter. With Nia Jax, that's the only thing that's unique is that, okay, Nia's in here now. We haven't seen that, but we saw Nia lose to Rousey, so I can only assume that she'd probably lose to Shayna just as badly. So I don't know. Like, I don't care about anything that's happening here. The only thing I hope is that Shayna wins Money in the Bank. Like, I hope, please win Money in the Bank.
Yeah, I think there's no redeemable way to do this if Shayna doesn't win.
Yeah, there's no one else, unless you just really want to push someone like that's lower down the card in the women's division and then give them that push, then I could maybe justify it.
That's the thing. They had the perfect competitor for it because they've been setting her up for that kind of run. Liv Morgan. They've been setting her up for a run where she is a low to middle mid card person who's been getting pushed consistently, and you can tell that her mic skills are getting a lot better, and she's getting better in the ring. So she's been pushed and pushed and pushed, so she'd be the perfect kind of mid carder to get the briefcase. But no, you don't put her in the match, so the only person who can win is Shayna. Exactly. There's no mystery about it, because if Shayna doesn't win, I don't care.
Exactly. Like, I honestly don't care if anybody else wins this match. Like, what if Nia wins? Okay, cool. Like, yeah, Nia's gonna be sneaking up on somebody with the Money in the Bank briefcase, right? Like, or if it's Asuka, like, we've been down this road before. Like, because WWE has this fantasy of half pushing Asuka, like it's the start and stop push. So I have no confidence in them doing Asuka right anymore. I don't care about Asuka. So it's got to be Shayna. Like, I noticed how I didn't mention anybody else in the match because no one else matters. That's how bad Raw's women's division is.
SmackDown. So
SmackDown, excuse me. Yes, my bad.
Hear me out. What if Asuka wins and cashes in on Charlotte? Because I could be okay with that. I could feasibly be okay with Asuka cashing in on Charlotte and Asuka becoming the NXT Women's Champion.
Here's why I'm not okay with that, is because then you don't resolve the Charlotte-Rhea situation, which that does have to be resolved at some point. Rhea is owed a rematch per stipulation. Then you kind of cut short all the goodwill that Charlotte's been doing for the NXT Championship and for NXT. I mean, I've really liked Charlotte in this role. Not to mention, again, you put Asuka in this role, and but I don't trust WWE to continue to use Asuka in the way that she would need to be used. Whoever your women's champion is has to be someone strong, someone that people care about. And love her or hate her, people care about Charlotte Flair. Does anybody still care about Asuka?
And that's it would be a really, really important long book to do. So first of all, you let Charlotte resolve things. You have Asuka hold on to that briefcase for 6-8 months and have her tease that she's going to cash it in on SmackDown and Raw. Have her win these matches on SmackDown and Raw and have her keep teasing that she's going to cash it in. And then all of a sudden Asuka shows up at TakeOver and just cashes in and takes it back from Charlotte. Like, that would be the perfect scenario if we don't get Shayna Baszler, which we need to get Shayna Baszler. Like, I can't stress enough. As much as I love my fantasy booking, by God, we need Shayna Baszler.
I mean, I guess the only thing here is that with how bad the Raw Women's division is, Shayna's probably going to get a title shot with Becky regardless of if she wins this, so she doesn't really need the Money in the Bank. It's just kind of, I don't care about anybody else. This is the problem with putting Shayna in this match, is that she doesn't need it, but since you threw her in there, you can't have her lose. So so many problems. And the only thing that I would like from
off the building.
Well, that too. And the only thing I like about the whole Asuka thing is that we potentially would get to see Asuka wrestling matches on NXT again, which means she would probably get those matches. We fingers crossed, would get booked by Triple H and the NXT creative team. That's the only saving grace, but I don't know.
Takeover, we would get Asuka Charlotte done right.
Well, that's the thing, though, is that right now we're seeing the women's division get the women's championship for NXT get defended at Money in the Bank, correct? So,
I believe so, but they're not doing takeovers right now because of the whole.
Well, yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know if because you have a main roster person holding the belt, if it would get defended on takeovers, if you would continue to do what you did for WrestleMania and what you're doing for Money in the Bank, and continue to have them pop up on main roster pay-per-views. I don't know what the plan is. We've never seen something like this before, so it is quite an interesting scenario. And what you said presents some level of interest. I mean, just because we don't know what they would do and what would happen. If anything, it's just interesting to see how WWE would mess this up. That's like the biggest entertainment factor that would come out of this.
They would have her cash in on Charlotte and lose.
Yeah, I totally could see that happening. Like, I full confidence that's probably what would happen. And that scares me the most. But let's go ahead and move on from the sad, depressing women's division to something that made me visibly upset. And that was the gauntlet match. It's the qualifier for the Money in the Bank ladder match. So, Bobby Lashley. Let's talk about Bob, as one dearly departed Rusev would call him. He's not dead. He's just no longer in WWE. So,
well, until he gets signed with AEW, he might as well be.
Well, if I'm being honest, if I'm being honest, not being in WWE is kind of more like a revival of being alive, if it would seem.
The revival, I get it.
So, Bobby Lashley, they're trying to push him as this monster heel again. They're trying to have him dominate, and it's too little too late, WWE. 2 years too late, for that matter. You've had Bobby Lashley come back from being gone, from being in TNA for 2 years now, and you've done literally nothing with him. We were expecting matches with Braun and high-profile matches with Roman and Brock Lesnar, and while we've gotten a little bit of that, wrong guy won. Nothing was on the line in those matches, and you didn't get the Brock Lesnar match, which everybody wanted, including Bobby Lashley. Like, he even said that's one of his main reasons for coming back to WWE is because he wants the match. He just wants to fight Brock, whether it's in the octagon or in a WWE ring. He just wants to fight Brock. Everybody wants to see that. I don't care if it's in a ring or an octagon. I just want to see Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar. And you've let the character just die out. You threw him in a meaningless tag team with Lio Rush. Also, rest in peace. And you've done so little with this man, and now you're trying to build him up now, and it's too far gone. And not only that, but look who you're building him up against. Titus O'Neil decided that he's finally done sitting on his couch and watching Raw from home. He was going to show up this week just to get brutally destroyed by Bobby Lashley. Second host from WrestleMania, by the way, Titus O'Neil. And he only appeared like twice, by the way. That was the only contribution he had for WrestleMania. And now he has the nerve to show up on Monday Night Raw, and you put him in a qualification match for Money in the Bank. Like, that there's anyone who would believe that Titus worldwide, the guy whose biggest accomplishment is falling and making an ass out of himself, that's the guy who I think is going to qualify and potentially win Money in the Bank. Get the F out of here with that.
Look, it was not that long ago that we were all in love with Titus O'Neil when he was with Darren Young in the Primetime Players.
It's been like 3-4 years, not that long ago. It's probably been longer than that.
Leaves the company, and all of a sudden it's like, I'm out now.
Well, I mean, we all know the reason why Titus got buried in the first place. It was because of the whole thing with Vince McMahon and the joking thing like that. Yeah, like that there's so much involved there. But I don't care about Titus. No one cares about Titus. Titus doesn't care about Titus. Like, even Titus would see himself get announced for this match and go, "Ah, damn, I'm in this match." Like, no one cares. So, Bobby destroys Titus O'Neil.
He probably was like, "Oh, what am I doing tonight?" And they're like, "You're in a gauntlet match to get into the Money in the Bank ladder match." And he's like, "Why? What have I done?"
And then, just the cherry on the chop. On the top, excuse me. Yes, on the chop. I mean, yeah, speaking of chops, Akira Tozawa, who just, why? Gets brutally destroyed by Bobby Lashley, just proving my point once again by, like, surprise, surprise, Marques is right, but, the cruiserweight division means nothing. It just doesn't. No. Tozawa, third week in a row of getting destroyed on Monday Night Raw because you have no one else, apparently. It has to be Akira. By the way, Akira, the same Akira that scored a victory over Swerve, the same Swerve, who just beat El Hijo last week on NXT. That El Hijo, the one that just debuted. Yeah, that guy! Yeah, and I'm supposed to care about any of these people in any capacity. I don't. This is just WWE just feeling themselves up and trying to boost their own confidence. Look, guys, it's the cruiserweights again. Please care about them, but then you have them show up on Raw and get destroyed week in and week out. I don't care. You couldn't have picked anybody else for Bobby to job out. No, it's got to be Akira again. You got nobody else. And then on top of that, you'd waste everyone's time building up Bobby just for him to get himself kicked out. Why? Because he lightly shoved a referee in his match against Humberto Carrillo, and that's enough to get DQ'd, I guess. The referee got touched by Bobby Lashley, and well, throw his ass out. He's out of here. Disqualify Bobby Lashley. Who, what does he do? Does he, as the monster you're trying to portray him as, does he go on some massive rampage, decimate the referees, maybe break a few announce tables? No, he beats up Humberto, hits him with a spear, and then he pisses off to the locker room. I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, you would think that he would go on some kind of rampage and just absolutely destroy things. But if you'd like to look at somebody getting absolutely destroyed, go ahead and go and look at Rusev's Twitter page. And he's posted a video as to why he's no longer afraid of Bobby Lashley being with his wife, Lana. It's Bobby getting a chiropractic adjustment, to which the guy takes a mallet and a little chisel to his anus.
Right to the bumhole. So,
yeah, so
I'm not going to sit here and try to act like I'm not going to sit here and act like I understand anything about chiropractic or anything like that. So I don't know, but I know I won't be.
That did not look like chiropractor is the back thing to me.
I just know I'm not going to be visiting any chiropractor anytime soon.
Not that guy.
But yeah, you want to talk about actual destruction? Let's talk about the destruction of the careers of Angel Garza and Austin Theory, as once again they have been buried. The Humberto Carrillo, that got speared and absolutely demolished by Bobby Lashley, that Humberto Carrillo beat both of them. Both.
Yeah, naturally.
Because this is going to Monday Night Raw has been the worst thing for Angel Garza and Austin Theory. Like, Angel Garza was a budding star. We were talking about, is he the next Eddie Guerrero? The charisma, the personality, the in-ring prowess. Austin Theory was just having amazing matches with Ty Dillinger a few weeks back. Like, we were talking...
Whoa. Tyler Breeze.
Tyler Breeze, excuse me, my fault.
I was like, whoa, he's not the company.
No, Tyler Breeze, my fault. Like,
God, sorry, Sean Spears.
Like, we were talking about, like, this guy's, like, you know, could be the next big thing, you know? He's got everything. He's the total package. And then you throw him into Latino Hour on Monday Night Raw, and it's just been downhill from there. Like, I don't care. And especially now that you're having them lose every week on Monday Night Raw, I really don't care. I just feel bad for them, honestly. But this just... for people like me who had an ounce of hope that maybe we could see them get built back up, maybe being with Zelina Vega wasn't the worst thing for them. At least there's one bright side to this. They're not doing that cringy, like, forced feud with Bianca Belair and the Street Profits. That's not happening anymore, and thank God for that.
We have not seen Rey Mysterio get involved. It has not been stereotypical Latino hour where it's like,
that is fair.
Heel Latino versus face Latino with Zelina Vega on this side.
Yes, that's like the only saving grace, but it's not much to save this horrible booking. So yeah, they get squashed. You're building. I mean, it does good. It does wonders for Humberto. I mean, if you were going to do what I thought you were going to do, and you were going to put, Humberto's going to be in Money in the Bank. This is perfect. We could see Humberto maybe win Money in the Bank. That'd be great for his career. Just being in the match is wonderful for him career.
Back again. AJ's back. Celebrate.
Yeah, from being metaphorically buried to being literally buried, the Phenomenal One has risen from from his grave, being buried at Mania. How, by the way, we don't know. No explanation given. But AJ Styles is back on Monday Night Raw. He's in this match, apparently. And, yeah, he destroys Humberto. Absolutely destroys him. Like, it was, I mean, what was the point? Like, you did two things here. You started the Bobby push, and then you had him go away, and then you absolutely had Humberto demolish Angel Garza and Austin Theory just to lose to AJ in the end. What does AJ benefit from being in Money in the Bank? Does he need Money in the Bank? No, he's AJ Styles. He can come out and say, I want a championship match, and get like Roman Reigns and get one out of nowhere. Like, he doesn't...
I'm next.
Yeah, like, he doesn't need this. If he wins, he doesn't need it, and if he loses, oh great, another loss for AJ Styles. Like, it just, nothing comes from this. Money in the Bank, I thought, supposed to be about pushing young, up-and-coming talent. Like, I remember watching Money in the Bank back in WrestleMania 24, WrestleMania 25, and 26. You had people like Carlito, a young Shelton Benjamin, a young MVP. You had Matt Hardy. Like, you had all these CM Punk, all this amazing talent.
Mr. Kennedy!
Like, you had all these guys who, any one of them could benefit from winning Money in the Bank. Now you've got someone like Rey Mysterio in there. You've got AJ Styles. It's Aleister Black. I am fully convinced it's Aleister Black now.
There's almost always veterans in the Money in the Bank ladder match. And they do play an important role because it gives a bit of a legitimacy to the match itself. But to have guys like AJ in it, like Rey has not been a top card competitor. He's not been a main event competitor in years now in WWE. So Rey being in it, congratulations. This is a guy who could restart his career. AJ was literally at WrestleMania taking on The Undertaker in a main event. Like, AJ stands to gain nothing. Even like veterans, like I said, like Mysterio, who haven't been in the main event scene, or like Jericho, who created it. When Chris Jericho created it was for guys like him who had been taken out of the main event scene to boost them back in.
Well, that's what I was going to get into, is that, yeah, we've had veterans in it, but like normally it'd be veterans, someone like Chris Jericho, who, you know, was one of the creators of Money in the Bank, someone who, has always been in the match, competed, never won it, but competed in the match numerous times.
Never will win it.
Never will, not anymore. And while he was a veteran, he was young enough to where, he could definitely use the push from potentially winning Money in the Bank. Someone who always seemed like he was, like it would be viable for him to win the match. And then you have people like Kane who would just get thrown in it randomly, or The Big Show, people like that who should have nothing to do. Mark Henry, people who literally should not be with Money in the Bank
1 year.
Did he? I don't know. And if he did, he shouldn't have. It was.
Then he cashed in on Undertaker. I could be wrong. I might be missing something here.
I don't know. I just know that's how I feel about AJ Styles. You should be nowhere near Money in the Bank. And Rey Mysterio was at levels of I don't care. I don't care. I don't want to see Rey Mysterio win Money in the Bank. I'm sure it'll be cool to see him in the match, but I don't care. And if he, for God help us all, if Rey Mysterio wins Money in the Bank, because the match everybody wants to see is Rey Mysterio versus maybe Drew McIntyre, God help if Brock Lesnar comes back. So I don't care about this at all.
Yeah.
Money in the Bank is going. We said it about WrestleMania, and we were proven wrong. But I'm fairly confident in when I say these words that Money in the Bank is going to be horrible. That I'm pretty confident in that fact. And by the way, we got the announcement. By the way, we got a little bit of a tour of the headquarters, but we got the announcement that at Money in the Bank, the men's and the women's Money in the Bank match are going to be taking place at the same time. And they could potentially run into each other at the top of the building. By the way, they showed us they've got the men's briefcase hanging right next to the women's briefcase. And you could potentially see women's competitors and men's competitors climbing the ladder at the same time. Maybe one of them grabs the other briefcase. Wow, all the possibilities. But how do you even film this? How are you going to go? There is so much confusion. What are you doing? So we're supposed to watch 2 matches at the same time? Is it
either going to be the best match I've ever seen in my life, or this is going to be the equivalent of today's Judy Bagwell on a forklift match?
You know what this is? This is going to be the visual equivalent of the Punjabi prison match. You know how no one can tell what's happening. It's confusing. It's boring. And nobody cares. That's what this Money in the Bank match is, because you're not going to care. No one's going to know what the hell is happening. By the way, you're going to be watching 2 matches at the same time. So just as you start to get maybe invested in one, bam, here's the women. Or bam, here's the men. And maybe you could see the women fighting the men. That'd be interesting. Again, what if, you pull some Tessa Blanchard stuff and you have one of the women grab the men's Money in the Bank briefcase? Is that allowed? Are there rules? I don't know. We had AJ talking about committing murder last week. So I don't know what's supposed to happen here. I'm genuinely confused. They showed the landscape. They said, well, here's WWE headquarters. Once they start in the lobby, and then after that, it's a free-for-all. You could take the elevator, you could take the stairs, and if it's me, I'm sitting here going, well, I'm taking the elevator. This is, screw the fight. I'm hopping in, pushing top floor, and I'm just going to climb the ladder. No one's going to...
And I'm cutting the cables.
I don't understand. And then and I'm just going to spoil it. You have Alistair talking about, well, if AJ throws me off the rooftop, he better hope I don't get up. What? So does that mean it's all but official? We're going to see someone get thrown off the building, which, talk about not attempt this at home. Yeah, don't attempt this at home. You're literally committing potential murder, which I guess that's what the Boneyard match is. By the way, AJ justifies everything about that. He even said, Screw the boneyard match. I didn't lose the boneyard match because there's no rules in a boneyard match, so you can't lose a boneyard match. What? This doesn't make sense. How is he back? What is the point? What is going on? Why am I so angry? Because I don't know what's happening anymore, and it makes me upset. This is what you're doing to me, WWE.
The best part about all of this is going to be the fact that you and I are probably going to be on a Skype call much like this and going completely insane. I will be laughing hysterically. Your face is going to be the face, and I'm just going to be like, this is amazing. This is great. Oh, you know, like Nia Jax is fighting AJ Styles for the men's briefcase. Like, and then AJ throws Nia off the building, and we're like, huh? Like, he just committed murder. Like, I don't know. This is going to be the most insane match we've ever watched.
The only image I could picture is, like, AJ throws Alistair off the building, and then he, like, rises from the side, like, I don't even, like an angel. Like, I don't know what is, I don't know. I don't know what to expect.
You right now, there's going to be one of those window cleaner cart things on the outside. Someone's going to land in it. They're going to push the thing to the top, and they're going to win.
All we're missing now is AJ throwing Alistair off the side, and then, like, Keith Lee rising from the thing, and AJ going, no, that's impossible. No, AJ, I am limitless. This is so ridiculous. Like,
what about the rent-a-crane? We were talking about this. Someone should just rent a crane to get them to the top of Titan. It's not even that big of a building.
No, it's not. It's like, what, like 10 stories? Like, if even?
10 to 15. It's 10. There's like 20 levels.
Yeah, like, if even. Like, it didn't look that big, like, when they showed it. Like, it looked like it. That's why I thought maybe 10, because it looks like it's a pretty small building. Like, rent a crane, buy a helicopter. I think there's a helipad on that thing, right? Like, so many things, like, and look, I get,
it's gonna be great.
And I get upset over AEW and NXT's booking. Last week, more so AEW's booking because of things that frustrate me, because generally AEW has a plan. But in comparison to where AEW and NXT, where there's structure, where at least you know where things are going, and things can get a little insane sometimes. I may not always agree with what's happening on AEW or NXT, but at least it's not batshit nuts like what's happening with Money in the Bank. Like,
you're gonna race to the top of the building. Both briefcases are going to be up there. Both matches happen at once. And if you commit murder, it's not on my hands. That's good shit.
This is literally what I was talking about when I said people think Vince has lost his mind. Like, he's literally... This is the definition of... Whoa! Like, he has gone full bananas, and Vince is just throwing everything and the kitchen sink at the wall and saying, I don't care if it sticks, put a hole in the damn wall. Like, this is what's happening with WWE right now, and it's terrifying. And we've got stories that we're going to talk about later on tonight that are even more terrifying, because, my God, this company is a mess right now. So, I'm done ranting. I'm done freaking out.
Hey, the new tag team has a tag team name now, I guess.
TM62?
No, To Fly.
Yes. So, well, we'll get to that a little bit later on. Seth Rollins did have an in-ring interview, and he basically just repeated what he said last week. Said that, yeah, McIntyre is a dominant champion, he's a fighter and a warrior and an honorable man. But as I said before, as I did all these other things that I'm repeating from my promo last week, Drew McIntyre is not a leader. He's not destined to lead WWE into the future. And then he began to continue to repeat stuff that he's already told us about carrying the burden and blah, blah, blah. Look, it's literally the exact same promo. If you heard it last week or you watched our review, it's the same thing. So let's go ahead and move on. This is what I was talking about when I say authority figure is that MVP. Brendan Vink and Shane Thorne are having an interview, and then MVP kind of walks in.
TM62.
Yeah, MVP's like, look, I have some words of encouragement to give you. Cool. And then, excuse me, I've got my segments mixed up. He gave him words of encouragement, and then later on they had an interview, and MVP interrupted. So whatever, it's basically the same thing. So we get a quick interview from Murphy, just talking about like the stuff that he learned from Seth Rollins. Not a whole lot there. Finally, though, we're right.
Turn water into wine and.
Yeah, pretty much. So we do, as you were alluding to earlier, we do get the match. What'd you say? What are they called? Please repeat the name. Two Fly. Yes, that is the nickname, the stable name for one Ricochet and Cedric Alexander versus TM62, Brendan Vink and Shane Thorne.
Make it catch on, ladies and gentlemen. Set the world on fire. TM62.
Yeah, so this was a match that on paper should have been really good, but they were given no time. This was very short. TM62 does pick up the win here, which a lot of people seem to be upset about that. You know, they're saying, well, why would you build up Ricochet and Cedric, give them a name now just to have them lose to Brendan Vink and Shane Thorne? I disagree. I'm one of those people. I mean, I've never made no bones about the fact that I don't really care if my opinion differs from the rest of the wrestling community. I've been saying this from day one that I don't feel like when you build a new stable that you should immediately push them to the moon and have them win every single match. Like, they're a new tag team, so there's going to be bumps in the road. You need to show those bumps, like, not just by telling us that there's bumps, but by showing us. Have them lose a couple matches. They fought Viking Raiders a couple weeks ago, and they lost, as they should have. While, yes, Brendan Vink and Shane Thorne are a relatively new tag team as well, Shane Thorne's a tag team specialist. And he's known Brendan Vink for a while, so I would assume they have chemistry. They've wrestled over on NXT for a couple months now. Meanwhile, Ricochet and Cedric are very new as a tag team. Neither one of them have been known as a tag team guy, even though you've put them in tag teams, especially Ricochet when he came up with Aleister Black on his debut on Monday Night Raw. But they're not really tag team guys. So, of course, they're going to lose to two people who are definitely better in a tag team environment. So, I do think this is the right decision. And especially if you're going to make this match where you are trying to push TM62 at the same time, you also are trying to push 2 Fly. So, I do think the result would better TM62 by having them pick up the win because they are the heel stable. They need to be shown that they can win matches not just by dastardly measures, but that they can actually legitimately pick up wins here, which they have been shown to do. So I think that's good. I think this is the way you should be booking things. And you can call it 50-50 booking or whatever. I don't care. I think this is how you should book new tag teams. This is the way it's supposed to go. And it's not like TM62 are undefeated themselves either. They've also lost matches on Monday Night Raw and on NXT. So no one is hurt by this. So stop freaking out.
Yeah, but I think it was a good matchup. I think, despite it being a little bit of a short match, these two teams do match up pretty well against one another. I'd like to see it again in the future when both teams have had a little bit more time together.
Yes, so I need to take a deep breath here. Something else that I just really want to get upset about, and that's that, you know, on Sunday, how for the Raw Tag Team Championships, it's going to be the Street Profits versus the Viking Raiders. This Sunday.
Yeah, and they gave it away.
And you gave it away for free on Raw.
And not
why?
Just that, though. You had the challengers win. a non-title match 6 days before a pay-per-view. That doesn't look good, WWE.
No, it doesn't. Like, I was all... You messed it up. You messed it up. I personally, I don't know about you, but I personally was looking forward to this match. Viking Raiders. Their first go at the tag team championships in a minute. You know, they lost their titles, never really got that second opportunity. The Street Profits, you know, another title defense, another way to legitimize them as tag team champions, potentially. You have them lose to the Viking Raiders on Raw in a non-title match. What does this do for Viking Raiders? Does this make them look strong if they go into Money in the Bank and lose? Does this make the Street Profits look good? Obviously not, because they lose. If they win on Sunday, it's 50-50 booking. And if they lose again on Sunday, then it just makes me go, well, they should never have the titles to begin with, because clearly you have no faith in them as champions. No one wins from this.
This is another case of WWE booking themselves into a corner and going, well, we're probably going to have the Street Profits win on Sunday, but we don't want the Viking Raiders to look weak, so we'll give them a win on Monday. No, you have them lose on Monday, close. You have them lose on Sunday, close, and you let the Street Profits continue. And if you're going to have the Viking Raiders take the title, guess what? You have them lose on Monday, close.
Or you just don't have the match. Like... This you don't need to have this match. This is one of those situations where WWE goes, you know what would be a great headline, something that would maybe get people to watch Raw? We'll just give away the title match no. Look, I understand that your views on Raw and SmackDown have been plummeting. I get it. But guess what? So is every other wrestling show. So that doesn't mean you start to just tank your product and give away matches for the sake of just trying to draw people in, because storyline wise it makes no sense, and it doesn't make people want to tune into your product anymore. That's already the problem with your product, WWE, is that your product is too confusing to understand. Like, what's always been the biggest critique of indie wrestling is that, oh, it's too confusing, we can't understand it. That's what's happening with WWE right now, with Raw and SmackDown, is that no one knows what the hell is going on. It's too confusing. We can't understand your product, WWE. I don't even want to, I don't want to talk about this anymore, because just how much more can I say the same thing? It's been rinse and repeat this entire episode, or at least this entire review of Monday Night Raw portion, because that was this entire episode of Raw, was just illogical booking decisions that just do nothing but frustrate your audience and put yourselves in horrible positions going forward. Like, you just screwed yourself, like, for the next 2 or 3 months, maybe further down the line, with 90% of the things that you've been doing on Raw and SmackDown, and with it potentially what happens on Sunday at Money in the Bank. If you mess up even just 2 or 3 of the things on Sunday, you've set yourself back months. Like, this is bad. You had such great momentum coming out of WrestleMania. I came on the next day for Raw and I said, this is what even on the review for WrestleMania, I said, you prove that you can do this, that you can book fantastic wrestling. No excuses. You prove that you can do it. Where did that go? What, did you hire, random people to come in just to book WrestleMania, and then you fired them and sent them on their way? Thanks for your help. We appreciate it. Bye-bye now. Vince and Co. We've got it under control. No, this is so bad. It's so bad. And by the way, you're probably wondering why we didn't give an MVP or a match of the night for SmackDown, because it didn't deserve it. Because there was no match on SmackDown that was even worth talking about, and no one gets an MVP because SmackDown was horrible. I mean, at the most, I could say Braun Strowman or Bray Wyatt again, but we already know that. So I just, no. SmackDown sucks. And I almost want to do the same thing to Raw, because Raw is so bad. At least they are kind of trying, right? But it's so batshit that it just doesn't even make sense. It just doesn't. This makes no sense.
Are you good?
No, I'm not good.
Yeah, this is just. I mean, clearly WWE has no idea what direction they're planning to go, or if they do, they have no idea what the correct roadmap is to get there. So they're just gonna take a straight line to it, and if that means they have to smash through 3 buildings on the way, they'll do it. The next segment, unless of course there's a promo that I missed, is the Charlotte promo.
Yeah, Charlotte comes out, calls herself the hardest working woman in any industry, and then gets cut off. By the way, I was wrong. So the Io Shirai match is this Wednesday on NXT, so it's not taking place at Money in the Bank. It is happening on NXT. Okay. But yeah, she gets cut off by Liv Morgan, and you had me, Liv. You really did. Yep. You had me. You came out and you cut a fantastic promo. The best promo I think you've cut in your WWE career. Like the fire and intensity before it, the fire and intensity from the words you were speaking. Like it's everything. The attitude. Like I think you finally got this nailed down. I don't know. I still don't know what the new Liv Morgan is supposed to be, but I think from where this promo goes is you don't know where it's supposed to be, but at least you say the words and you say them well. So I guess that's all that matters. Screw character development.
I think she's halfway there, kind of thing. So I've been following her on Instagram. On
is she still a lesbian? Is that still a thing?
I guess I don't
know where that is. Was that storyline? I don't know what. I can't follow.
That was never proven.
Yeah, again, I don't know. Are we supposed to believe that? Was that just so you could get in the main event? Again, confusion. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So, I think the important thing to take away from this is she's doing everything she possibly can to distance herself from Ruby Riott, from the Riott Squad, especially after Sarah Logan, rest in peace, leaving, getting fired from WWE. But in addition, she's trying to take on a different persona, and she's experimenting with little things on her social media. And if you go and interact with her in any way, shape, or form on her pictures on Instagram or her tweets, she's experimenting. She's becoming more open on her Instagram with her real life situations and stuff like that. So I think she's trying to become more of a true this is me, this is who I am, kind of wrestler, which is kind of cool. I respect people for that, like AJ Styles. I mean, yeah, AJ's over the top and everything like that, but he also lets you into his life. He doesn't have Twitch, what is it, Mixer account, and he's always constantly talking about his son's football career, and it's performers like that really get you involved. There's the way gimmick people, which, don't get me wrong, I love my gimmicks, but I also love guys like Cody, who will post, just pictures of him and Brandy and Pharaoh hanging out. So she's trying to become more personable, more of a real life type character, and I think she's just trying to experiment with exactly what direction she wants to go. But hey, I mean, this is a hell of a lot better than being, hey, you're that girl with Ruby Riott.
Yeah, obviously I kid with the whole, making fun of everything. I just, I don't understand what her gimmick really is supposed to be. I mean, if her gimmick is that she doesn't know what she's supposed to be, then I guess at least it's a little bit more relatable, but that she's, just trying to fit in. She's not just trying to fit in, that she's trying to find her way in this large company, and it's confusing, but she just knows that she doesn't want to be like anybody else, and that she wants to prove that she deserves to be there. So I guess that you can get that from this. And her match with Charlotte was, it was all right. I mean, she looked like she was holding her own at the beginning there, and she's definitely shown improvement in the ring. Obviously, it's Charlotte, so after a while, Charlotte just begins to dismantle her and pick up the victory with a figure 8. But she looked good.
Yep. this is the thing that I found really important about that matchup was if this was even 3 or 4 months ago, Liv Morgan would be entirely outclassed by Charlotte in the ring. Liv has come leaps and bounds from where she was 3, 4, 5 months ago. Now, does she still have progress to make? Yes. But she has come a long way from where she was. She's an interesting character. She's getting better in the ring. She has the drive. She has the passion, and that is what I love to see. So, good on you. Good match. You were able to keep up with Charlotte's pace most of the match, too. So, really happy to see you out there, Liv. Keeping up the good work. Sure. Yep, that's a sentence.
Well, let's go ahead and jump into the main event. And I'm not going to take literally any time on this. Drew McIntyre versus Murphy. Shouldn't have been a match. Don't care about it. Wasn't very good. The idea was the tease of having Seth Rollins there. And then it culminates in you getting the fight between Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre, of course, would get the advantage. And you get the stare down at the end with Rollins on top of the ramp, looking down at Drew McIntyre. That's all you really got from this. So, I was halfway joking, but honestly, I don't even want to give a match of the night or an MVP or anything to this show because it's so clustered and it's so confusing and nothing makes sense, and it's just such a poor, pitiful excuse for a go-home show for Money in the Bank. Yeah. I mean, hell, the fact that you're just now having your last qualifying match for Money in the Bank the week of the show says it all right there. Says it all.
I'm okay not giving a match of the night, but I have to give an MVP because I feel like she earned it. Liv Morgan, good work this week. Fantastic promo work. Way to keep up in the ring. Shout out to my boy Ivar. Nice to see you back in the ring as well. But yeah, Liv, to keep up with the queen, that was big. That was big. You are taking big steps.
You know what? I'll give an MVP. My MVP is going to be AJ Styles for crawling out of that grave and giving us the possibility that we could watch somebody die on Sunday night. So that's my MVP for AJ Styles for potentially committing manslaughter on Sunday. So there we go. That is my MVP. So
actually, at this point, doesn't it become murder? It's premeditated.
No, it's murder. It is full-on, hot-blooded, passionate murder. So let's move on now to something that's a little bit more calm. Not gonna have, hopefully, and that is that's our news segment of the week. I'm sure you all pop when he does that every week. So,
I'm sure everyone's sitting in their. I'm sure that's as popular as things like the ding, and you love it.
So let's go ahead and I'll let you kick things off because I'm sure everyone's getting a little tired of my voice tonight.
Well, Lord knows I am. So I'm going to kick things off here with perhaps one of the most important stories we have. WWE has been giving, for lack of a better term, the shaft to Roman Reigns as of late. And this continues. So during Monday Night Raw's broadcast, there were several moments of the top Money in the Bank moments of all time for cash-ins. And of course, the number one moment, we all know what the number one moment it is, despite it not being Marques' and my number one moment in our hearts, because God, have we never popped harder than Money in the Bank. What was it, like 2015 or 16 or whatever? Anyways, WrestleMania 31, Seth Rollins cashes in, becomes part of a triple threat match for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship against Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. The important thing about this is, while they were airing it on Monday Night Raw, Roman Reigns was nowhere to be found. Anywhere. In any part of the video package. He was kept out of it entirely. Which is ironic because Reigns is the person that Rollins pinned. So they just erased Roman Reigns from history in WrestleMania 31, made it seem as though Rollins cashed in solo on Brock Lesnar, which did not happen, and then just pretended that, oh yeah, Rollins stopped Lesnar for a win. Yeah, that ain't it. That ain't how it happened.
Yeah, so they've already begun the process of rewriting history, trying to scrub Roman from existence. Even so far as we've there are news that reported that certain marquees online and teasers and posters and stuff like that, and all social media hype started to replace even Roman Reigns with John Cena. So even reverting back to their previous Golden Boy and Johnny. So just this is so childish, and it's such a bad look for WWE. Like, get over yourselves, guys.
The ironic thing, of course, is there's a Fox Sports or Fox Sports 1 or some semblance of Fox Media that is producing a special about Roman Reigns that will be coming out this weekend.
Yes.
A WWE sponsored special about the guy who is not allowed to be talked about. Of course, when we reference our favorite Money in the Bank moment, that would be Dean Ambrose cashing in on Seth Rollins to win his first WWE championship. That would not be in their top 10 best Money in the Bank cash-in moments because, Jon Moxley. Mark, over to you.
So, next article I have is about recently released superstar and former UFC star Cain Velasquez. This, of course, is coming from Sportskeeda.com. And apparently, Mr. Velasquez, in his very short 6-month tenure with WWE, made numerous mistakes. So, apparently, they said, as reported, the WWE believed he was well aware of his injury when he signed the contract. And so apparently he had a knee injury, by the way, for those who don't know. And they said that rubbed some people the wrong way. And that's something I've reported on before and something that's really been quite public knowledge for a while. Then he announced he was going to be in the Rumble, where, of course, he wasn't in the end in the Rumble. He was there to talk about plans for him, contract details going forward. He wasn't supposed to let on that he was there. This is, of course, referring to when they showed a picture of Cain Velasquez and Ronda Rousey at WWE headquarters on his social media. He was not supposed to tell people that he was there or that Ronda Rousey was there. So, just numerous mistakes, stuff that's, you just shouldn't do. Be professional. If you have an injury, that's something that you should let people know before they sign you to a $10 million contract. So, just, yeah, very... If all of this is true, then it's just unprofessional for Cain Velasquez, and I farewell, like best wishes, yeah. Farewell.
Look, I know we popped a little bit for Cain Velasquez when that all happened, but I was never really that excited about Cain Velasquez coming to the company, and then there's the injury and the this, that, and the other. It's like I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, you never should have signed the dude for how much money you signed him for. He's not worth that much as a wrestler. Good riddance, to be honest.
And this was WWE trying to see if lightning will strike 3 times, I guess is the way to put it. Because, you had Brock Lesnar, you had Ronda Rousey. Maybe you could pull another UFC guy and see if it works. And
hey,
no,
Shamrock.
Yeah, it just didn't work. Like, Cain Velasquez just was not that guy. He clearly didn't know what he was doing in the ring, hence why you had him lose at Crown Jewel. And no one missed... I don't want to sit here and say that... No, I will say it. No one's going to miss Cain Velasquez. No one's going to... I certainly won't shed it. I certainly didn't shed any tears for the loss of Cain Velasquez from WWE. Your next story, sir.
Yeah, Dolph Ziggler was asking fans on Twitter if they could find a clip of himself and Sonya Deville from Friday Night SmackDown. Of course, kind of tongue-in-cheek, they conveniently posted the one of Otis and Mandy, but they didn't post the one of us. Of course, Machine Gun Carl Anderson, which, in case y'all haven't been following the Good Brothers on the Instagrams and the Twitters, please do. By God. Machine Gun Carl Anderson has returned to form, saying the F word as every other word. And Big LG Doc Gallows has apparently become Sex Ferguson, which is his new gimmick. I don't know.
To play on the Tex Ferguson character from I forget the name of it. Southpaw Wrestling. Yeah, that whole like scripted thing they did, which was hilarious. Please, I won't recommend WWE things very often, but that you need to go see. It's all on YouTube. Southpaw Regional Wrestling. Go check it out.
Yes. So Carl Anderson responds, "Yeah, they'll conveniently leave out lots of things that'll get you more over. That's how it works." So, Machine Gun Carl Anderson recently released from the company, and he and Big Doc Gallows still doesn't roll quite off the tongue. He and Big Doc Gallows both were released from the company. They are starting to hint at maybe it was WWE's fault. And, I mean, of course it was. We all know it was. The OC's one of the best tag teams in the world, one of the most intriguing tag teams in the world, and to see them down from where they are, or where they were when they entered the company, obviously it's the WWE's fault. And, of course, to all of our wrestling brethren, I guess, because we're kind of in the industry-ish, who've been released throughout the WWE Purge, as I'll call it. I'd like to have you all go show some support. Go check out the Talkin' Shop podcast with Big LG and MGKA.
Yes, there's nothing better than plugging other podcasts on our podcast. Fantastic. Also, I feel a little awkward here because, as soon as they got released, I, of course, was maybe floating the idea that it wouldn't be long before maybe we see the Good Brothers back in WWE. That door seems to have been firmly slammed shut with this tweet from Carl Anderson. I guess the relationship between them and WWE maybe is a little bit more frayed than maybe was we were led to believe out the gate. It's just a shame, honestly, then, if that is the case. Because I love Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. I love their work with AJ Styles when they're allowed to be themselves and fully commit to their characters and go out and compete as legitimately one of the best tag teams in the world. Not just tongue-in-cheek, but actually one of the best tag teams in the world. So, just a shame, but, now we'll get to see them actually go out and do what they do best. And another company in WWE can cry about it later. So, something that I personally am super excited for. No, it's not 2009, but the TNA World Heavyweight Championship is back. Yes, do not adjust your computers or your phones. I did not misspeak. The TNA Championship is back, and it was brought back by Moose. Yes, so, seeing as Tessa Blanchard is currently not wrestling due to the unnamed thing that is spreading around that I will not say due to YouTube's BS just crack down on saying that word. But yeah, Tessa Blanchard's not wrestling. The Impact...
From here on out, it shall be known as Mayo, as it is spread widely. Mayo.
So that shall not be named. Yes, yes. But the Impact World Champion Tessa Blanchard is not currently wrestling due to this. So Moose decided that they're gonna bring back the TNA World Heavyweight Championship, belts back and everything. He arrived on an episode of Impact carrying the belt. So I thought this was great. I think this is amazing. It's a throwback to the history of the company. I mean, great legends like Kurt Angle, Sting, Hulk Hogan, even AJ Styles, Samoa Joe. The legacy that belt has it goes far greater than people often give it the respect of it being. It's that despite opinions of the current product from Impact, TNA does have a rich legacy. They put on some amazing matches in the late 2000s and even the early 2000s. Again, it's hard not to with the pure roster of talent that they fielded. Like, it was a juggernaut. The fact they were actually at one point even legitimate opponents for WWE at one point. Like, that just shows the legacy of TNA. So I think this is kind of cool. I'm interested to see where they go from it. Maybe, you can bring back some TNA legends to maybe come out and challenge for the TNA championship, or maybe at least give a promo, talk about the legacy that belt holds. Like, you can do so much with this, and it's kind of like what NXT is doing with the interim cruiserweight championship. Oh, our champions can't be here, so we'll just fight for another championship. And it adds a whole nother angle, because then when Tessa comes back, maybe you have Moose fight Tessa to see who the real world champion is. So it's just so much that can happen here, and I'm excited for it. Am I going to be watching it? Probably not, but it's definitely cool. Hell, maybe I will. Maybe with how bad Raw and SmackDown are, you may have just earned a viewer from me. So maybe we'll see.
Well, I was just going to say, you want to talk about the one way to get me to pay to watch an Impact pay-per-view? Tessa versus Moose. Yeah. No, I'm really excited to have this championship back in the company, and while, yes, I like to poke fun at TNA Impact all the time, they were the biggest competitor to WWE after the fall of WCW and before the rise of AEW, and they continue to exist, so that's better than WCW can say. So good on you guys, and I just realized during your impassioned promo that you don't in fact spread mayo, you squeeze mayo usually, so I'm thinking cream cheese maybe, butter, something you spread. No, okay. So we're gonna move on to the next article now. Elias was on the receiving end of a surprise attack backstage at SmackDown, and on Wednesday the company provided an update.
This was by the way, just real quick, this article is a week old, by the way, if you couldn't tell.
Yes.
So,
Elias suffered a bruised larynx and broken middle and pinky fingers following the latest attack by King Corbin. The injuries have put Elias's musical performances on hold as they've hampered his ability to sing and play guitar. So all indications are that Elias is going to be going away from the beloved guitar-playing gimmick, the honky-tonk man gimmick, if you will. Of course, for those of you who don't know, Honky Tonk Man, one of the most legendary WWE Intercontinental Champions of all time. So to see him possibly be losing this gimmick makes no sense. This gimmick's insanely over. Hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully, God, this sounds awful to say. Hopefully it's not a work. I don't want to see this gimmick die because it's so insane. And yes, I get it. There's no crowd right now, which means that there's no reason for him to be singing because there's nobody in the crowd to sing along with, and no one's going to chant along with "Walk with Elias" and all that stuff. But crowd's going to be back at some point. It's going to go back to normal, and when it does, well, whatever the new normal looks like, and when it does, you're really going to open that up without one of the most over gimmicks? Do you think the first thing the fans want to do is not just sit there and listen to Elias and have a WWE stands for chant? No. That is the first thing that people are going to want to do when they get back into that arena, is they're going to want to get involved in chants, in storylines, in characters, people they care about, and eliminating one of those gimmicks, terrible idea.
This is another example of WWE having no idea how to manage the gimmicks that they have created. This is horrible for Elias if this is the truth because, like you said, the gimmick is insanely over. While the character of Elias has perhaps gotten slightly stale over the last couple months, mainly because WWE has done literally nothing with him. He's kind of just been like a sideshow act, coming out, performing at pay-per-views, and then that's kind of it, or a meaningless feud with the people the likes of King Corbin. But that's not Elias's fault. That's WWE's fault for not knowing what to do with Elias. So don't punish Elias by taking away the only thing that allows people to continue to care about Elias as a character, right. And that's the fact that his gimmick is so insanely over that no matter where he goes in the country, whether face or heel, when he says WWE stands for, the entire crowd, all thousands of them in attendance, as the DX used to say, they all stand up and say, walk with Elias in unison, and you're stripping us of that ability.
And it's not just the country. It's all over the world. You saw this in Saudi Arabia. You've seen this in Australia. You've seen this everywhere. WWE's gone. This gimmick is over. Just let it continue being over. God, I hate WWE. Go ahead.
So, in other we can't stand WWE news, Sami Zayn, I guess, has decided to, think not like his character's been going anywhere anyway. So he's decided, as reported by WrestlingNews.com, actually reported by Dave Meltzer, but read the article on WrestlingNews.com. Don't want to give credit to where it is
breaking news reported by our own Marques White.
Yes, so as reported by Dave Meltzer via the Wrestling Observer newsletter, Sami Zayn is no longer going to be appearing on shows, at least for the time being, due to it that shall not be named. Again, this is not surprising to me. It won't be surprised if we start to see more and more people start to pull out, especially guys that aren't being utilized very well. I mean, if I'm a guy in WWE on Raw and SmackDown, like a Sami Zayn, a Cesaro even, or a Shinsuke, and my character's being misused or underutilized, I'm not really doing anything right now. If I'm just a talent on SmackDown, period, right now, I'm just like, why am I putting myself at risk to come to work and get treated like garbage? So yeah, I'm just not going to show up. And you have a valid reason, because, you are putting your body on the line, not just due to the outbreak, but due to the fact that this is a dangerous sport. This is professional wrestling. As Jim Ross used to say, it ain't ballet. So you're putting your body on the line every time you go out there and compete. And to do it for essentially nothing has to be disheartening. So yeah, this would be the perfect time to just go, nah, I'm good, and just not show up. I mean, I think it's just unfortunate that things are going that route, but yeah, it does seem like that's where things are headed.
Well, and it's unfortunate too, because obviously we love Sami Zayn. We actually love all three members of his stable, just not together. So this is going to be really difficult for us. And we've seen this with other talent and other companies and all throughout. I mean, we've seen it with Roman Reigns. Oh, I'm sorry. The guy.
He who shall not be named on WWE television.
Fist, and he was the member of the Shield, not the one that left the company or the one who thinks he's Jesus. He's the other one.
He's the biggest of dogs, and he owns the yard. All that stuff.
Yeah. So we've seen that with a lot of other WWE talent, and I mean, I get it. I wouldn't want to be at work right now either. If I was putting my life on the line and not being used, not being productive, there's no point. So, power to you, Sammy. Solidarity. We'll go ahead and you're looking at me funny here, bud. Some news now out of Monday Night Raw. You'll notice that we didn't really have any AEW news this week. Odd. So we have we don't have. There is a source, not our source. We don't have a source.
And coming from you can only hear this on the Wrevolution Pro Wrestling podcast via our anonymous source, as reported by Nick Cavalli.
Welcome to the Fight Mode Files.
Yeah.
So there is a report that Apollo Crews is going to be turning heel. So he is considered backstage to be a quote-unquote Paul Heyman guy, one of the guys that Paul Heyman absolutely loves, wants to push, and thinks has a future in this industry. He did the same thing with Cedric Alexander before Vince soured on him. Cedric now getting pushed again as part of the tag team. So we've been seeing that. And Paul has been asking for ideas on how to push Cedric Alexander, reportedly. And everybody has been giving him the idea of turning heel. According to this source, Apollo Crews was actually going to turn heel a while ago. He was going to turn heel on Chad Gable on SmackDown, and then eventually, of course, went over to Raw. They moved him to where he is now, and they're expecting that he will be the forefront of Montel Vontavious Porter's stable. A heel stable led by MVP and Apollo Crews.
You mean I was right? What a surprise!
Shocking as it may be, even a blind squirrel.
A blind squirrel, man. I've been hitting them out the park lately. Yes, if this is true, then yes, finally MVP is going to do something that means something, and finally Apollo Crews will be utilized correctly on Monday Night Raw. So maybe that would at least give credence to the idea of him not competing in Money in the Bank, is that if you actually, do something with him. So that would, if you do that, then I take back everything I said about taking him out of Money in the Bank. If you can do that and you can push him and make us care about Apollo Crews, especially you lump them up together with MVP. Maybe you put some more guys in there that aren't Usos. Hell, you know what? Why not? Throw Titus in there. I don't care. Just as long as you start to build these guys, that's all I care about.
Well, of course, there have been rumors about Shane Thorne and Brandon Vink, but a lot of people are starting to speculate that because he's a Paul Heyman guy, Cedric Alexander and Ricochet may wind up being part of that stable as well.
That'd be interesting. I don't know if I want to see a heel Ricochet. It just seems like Ricochet is, and even Cedric, they've both got that eternal babyface type thing. So I don't
know how it's gonna work. But
no, I don't either.
Look, I'm just reporting the news here. Breaking news straight from the mouth. Definitely not from a source. Yeah.
And now we've got one of the more I don't know what happened to it.
Is it the big one?
It's my last one, and it's pretty big.
Yeah, okay, well, I'll go ahead and lump it in with my story, and, I'll go ahead and start with mine, because I suppose starting with mine would make a little sense as to what's happening with yours. So, WWE's chairman of the board, Vincent Kennedy McMahon, is facing a class action lawsuit. Yay! Shareholders are also calling into question the company's ties with Saudi Arabia and Vince's credibility. A portion of the 44-page class action lawsuit filing is said to relate to an alleged hostage situation regarding wrestlers at the Crown Jewel event where Tyson Fury competed. WWE have denied any stars were held against their will. Believable. But shareholders, Ryan Merholtz and Melvin Klein, have named McMahon, Paul Levesque, Trips, and his wife, Stephanie, in the claim. Yikes. This is, of course, courtesy of The Sun. I'm going to go ahead and cite this one because I'm reading quite a bit of it. The claim relates to an allegation that McMahon delayed the live feed of the event until he received money for the show. That was reported. The filing says that WWE held the Crown Royal live event in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. After the event ended, shocking news reports surfaced claiming that the Saudi government was effectively holding a number of WWE wrestlers hostage in retaliation for McMahon's decision to delay a live broadcast of Crown Jewel until the Saudis made tens of millions of dollars in past due payments, which was then called into question by shareholders going, you let them have tens of millions of dollars in past due payments?
So there's so much to break down there. By the way, I did find the article, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But this was something that was speculated on months ago. We talked about it. The whole reason why NXT started doing its thing on Friday Night SmackDown and Monday Night Raw.
NXT Takeover SmackDown?
Yeah, why Triple H was doing that and continued to do it actually, and even building up towards Survivor Series. So that was kind of speculated on, but nothing was confirmed. But now that we've kind of gotten, I guess you could call this confirmation, it really does just show just how insane this whole thing is. First of all, yeah, if I'm the shareholder, you let them get tens of $millions in debt. Second of all, the fact that you then bargain people's lives for money.
And you covered up the hostage crisis. That's my favorite part. You covered it up. You were like, no one will figure out that you were held against their will. And Tyson Fury, not a member of your locker room, was like, yeah, I'm being held hostage in Saudi Arabia. That's a problem.
Yeah, like, these aren't these guys. I know that you're Vince and you think you're untouchable and you're this billionaire genius, whatever, but these aren't your playthings. These are people. Like, you cannot play with people's lives like this. You are in a foreign nation. You like it or not, when you go over there, you subscribe to their laws and their customs, and you want to play tit for tat with someone who clearly doesn't give a crap. And you at least if you're going to do it, you wait until your people, your guys are safe back at home. They have boots on the ground in the United States, and then you do whatever you want. You want to go tit for tat with some national foreign leader, go right on ahead. But you don't do that putting the lives of your workers at stake. That's not what you do. I don't care how much money they owe you. You don't do that. Like, it's disgusting that you did this purely for money. Like, your entire motivation was money. And the fact that, again, as Nick said, the fact that you let it even get to that point in the first place shows horrible leadership on your fault. Like, how does that even happen?
I'm not sending my people over there if I have not received my $10 million payment.
Exactly.
I'll hold the pay-per-view somewhere else. I'll go to the PC and hold the pay-per-view. I don't care. I will hold my pay-per-view somewhere else. You tell the 40 to 50,000 fans who are supposed to show up why your WWE show isn't there.
Exactly.
I'm not sending my people into another place when they still owe me the money. And this is the other thing. It's not, no offense, or take offense, I don't care. It's not like you were sending them to a place that's considered to be friendly. You didn't send them to the UK. You didn't send them to Canada. You didn't send them to Australia. You sent them to Saudi Arabia and then went, oh yeah, by the way, you owe me $10 million. I'm not airing the event in your country until you pay me.
Well, it's so ridiculous, and honestly, I really hope that this is the nail in the coffin right here, that this is what does it in for Vince McMahon and everyone else associated with this whole mess. And I feel bad because I feel like Triple H might get caught in the crossfire here, but honestly, if so be it if it happens at this point, because if you're this is bigger than putting on great storylines with wrestling. If you're associated with anything that had to do with that in Saudi Arabia, that entire mess, if your actions caused that, then I don't care how great the product is that you're putting on a Wednesday night. You don't need to be running things. Maybe that's what, hell, maybe another reason you deserve to get demoted, because you clearly don't know what you're doing at the top. And neither does Vince McMahon and everybody else that was associated with this whole monstrosity of a situation. This should not happen. For God's sakes, for someone who always puts money first, that you would play with people's lives like this. Yep. Send them to a foreign nation knowing you have not received payment yet, and then try to play like, oh, well, we're just not going to air the pay-per-view until you give us the money. knowing that your guys, the people that work for you, that put their lives, their trust in you as their employer, and you just play with their lives like that. Like, thank God, like, that everything worked out in the end, because this could have been so much worse. I mean, these aren't the people you trifle with. These are not the people you mess with. My God, a reporter, a news journalist got killed. Like, this is something that happened in that country. Did we all just forget about that? Clearly you did. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, but you put dollar signs in front of your own people, and that's the problem. And you did it again. You did it again, Vince.
And this is where I get a little scared, because none of the higher ups in WWE have any idea what they're doing. Vince McMahon is struggling clearly with his sanity. He is being sued. He has a class action lawsuit against him. He's got everything else going against him. Stephanie and Triple H are both involved in this class action lawsuit, so they could go down with the ship. I don't see a way out. Yeah. I don't see how this gets any better. Unless, well, two things. First of all, unless possibly Shane McMahon gets involved. I don't see Shane being the kind of guy to put dollar signs over people's lives, but I didn't see Trips being that guy either, and here he is. So, I don't know. Or, let's get to your article.
Yeah, I mean, well, this whole situation sucks, and I don't, honestly, and when we talked about the Roman Reigns situation being what could bring WWE down, but honestly, it feels like they're already on their way out anyway. It looks like we could be potentially seeing the collapse of WWE within the next year or so, and this next article just adds more fuel to the fire. So this comes from ringsidenews.com, and this is reported that apparently, from Dutch Mantel, by the way, tweeted out that Vince McMahon and WWE are trying to sell the company to potentially ESPN and Fox. They are in talks about a potential deal. They're looking to sell both WWE and the WWE Network. Now, of course, this is just a rumor, but could have a rumor with insanely massive implications that a non-McMahon family member could own World Wrestling Entertainment. So the fact that this is something that we are legitimately talking about blows my mind. I never thought I'd see the day, first of all. But the fact that, honestly, I feel like it might be for the best of the company. I know people will sit there and say, blasphemy, taking the McMahon family out of World Wrestling Entertainment. It's not even the same company, whatever. But if, again, the things that we just talked about, what we've been seeing happen over this past year, for the past couple years even, clearly Vince McMahon has lost touch not only with the wrestling business, but potentially with reality. And I hope that Triple H is only just involved in this because he is the COO and not because he actually had something to do with the situation that happened in Saudi Arabia. But if that's even the case, again, you got a clean house. But this is, honestly, this could potentially be a good thing. If Fox or ESPN were able to get full control of WWE, you'd have to think it's their product, so they would put on TV that they'd be proud to air every Monday and Friday night. So there's just so much that goes into this, and I can't even fully put into words because I'm so emotional, because it's something, again, that you never thought you would hear, and I don't relish in this. I don't take joy in talking about this. And while even Nick, like, he's talked about, seeing it all burn down and yada yada, but like, this is sad. I mean, we're seeing the destruction of something that we've all grown up with, the WWE, and regardless of what I think about them as people, the McMahon family. I mean, the storylines they were involved in, what they've done for the wrestling industry. If it ends like this, it's just a shame, because it shouldn't have ended this way.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you entirely on that. This is just, it's been a string of bad news after bad news after bad news for the McMahon family the last 3 or 4 weeks now. And while, yes, I very much want to see the company out of Vince's hands, I don't want to see it happen this way. I'd like to see him hand it down, step down, do something along those lines. And it's starting to look like it's going to be out of the McMahon family's hands entirely. It's probably going to be placed in the hands of the Fox or ESPN. Lord even knows how they're going to run that. I mean, Fox could bring their drama division in for all we know. So it'll be interesting to see. But for those of you who don't know, Dutch is a very reliable source in the wrestling community. Dutch was a pro wrestler for a long, long, long time on the indie circuit, and is most well known as Zeb Coulter in WWE. So Dutch is the kind of guy who's in the know. If WWE is going to be selling their company, this is the kind of guy who probably would know. So this is it's a rumor, but Dutch isn't wrong very often, and when he is, he's not wrong by very much usually. So my assumption would be that it's the only way he's wrong is that WWE either pulls out of this hole that they've been in, and their stocks have been falling still, or that the deal just falls through because Fox and ESPN aren't willing to give Vince the money that his ego wants.
So, I hate to end it on such a sour note, and I know that you guys probably, are sick of us coming on here every week for the wrap up and just being overly negative, but that's what the product is currently right now. It's very bland, or if it isn't bland, it's nonsensical.
Insane.
And it's the stories that are coming out about WWE are overly negative, and we commit to telling you guys what's happening in the industry, and this is just the reality. It's not good. I'd love to come out here and share happy, exciting news with you guys about WWE moving forward and progressing as a company, but that's just not the case. We are, for wrestling, for WWE, are living in very sad and scary times. Everything's uncertain. We don't know what the future holds. I hope that for the people that are involved in this company, not just the higher ups, I care less about the higher ups, but for the little guys, the guys that, not even just the wrestlers, even though the wrestlers obviously are important, but the ring technicians, the mic workers, the guys that work in production, the referee, like all of those people, like WWE employees hundreds to maybe thousands of people, and I am so worried. This whole situation just stresses me out, and that's all. Like there's not much more I can say except that This sucks. It really does. It sucks.
It's very sad that if this is the way it goes, and either Vince gets taken down by the class action lawsuit, or they sell the company, that sucks. That's not the way we want it to go. I mean, yeah, I want wholesale change, but I don't want it to come because Vince McMahon literally sacrificed the lives of his workers for tens of millions of dollars, or because he decided, oh wow, my name is really, really dirt right now. No one wants to deal with a McMahon, and I'm getting sued because the XFL just failed, so I'm just going to sell. That's not what we want. We want you to hand it down to Triple H if he's not involved. Please, God, don't be involved. Or to Shane or Stephanie or someone who has a semblance of sanity.
And how ironic, by the way, that if WWE does get sold or if the company gets taken out of Vince's hands, that it's always been the motto of Vince McMahon that with or without you, WWE will always progress. The wrestling industry will always move forward. What's the motto? Then, now, and forever. And I guarantee you he never thought in a million years that would include him.
Yep. You know what I'm doing right now? If I'm the networks, I'm making a backdoor deal. I'm telling Fox, you buy WWE for X, and I am TNT, and I'm going to buy WWE from you. Just because Ted Turner would love that. I would love to have Ted Turner at the head of WWE, guys.
I feel like Ted Turner would just cancel it. Like he would...
Right. No, he'd just put on Nitro. He'd have the rights to it. WCW Nitro. There we go.
There's not much more to say, so let's go ahead and wrap things up. So,
hey, I figured I'd lighten the mood a little bit.
Yeah. So
anyways, we have. Go ahead. You go ahead.
I was just gonna say this has been the weekend wrap up, episode number 10. Obviously, the Wrevolution Pro Wrestling Podcast is only available on YouTube due to it that shall not be named. But when we come back, if you follow us on the Spotify, the iTunes, the Google Play Podcast, and the ever so proclaimed Podbean, then cool, crisp, beautiful audio via this spectacular microphone will be back in your ears, entering your noggin to spice up your life in hopefully just a few short months. So prepare for that. Obviously, if you want to keep up to date with everything involved with the Wrevolution Pro Wrestling Podcast, we have social media links. Where can you find them? In the description down below. You can follow us on the Twitter machine, Facebook, Instagram for your boy Knack Knack over there, and all the fun stuff there.
Whoa. Sharing my personal Instagram. God.
Yes, so, excuse me, pardon me, WR Fight Mode Nick.
Jeez. It's okay. I mean, I'm a local politician. I need followers.
Yep. So, yes, go ahead and follow us on all our social media stuff. Links are down in the description below. And as always, make sure if you want to keep up to date with knowing when new videos are posted, how do you do that? It's quite simple. You go ahead and hit that subscribe button and you ring the notification bell. Because, let's be honest, you like us, we like you. Let's just skip to the next step. And let's go ahead and make this thing official. So go ahead and subscribe to join the Wrevolution. And always remember, my name is Marques White, live from Studio 6.
My name is Fight Mode Nick from the spare bedroom. And did you just make a let's skip dinner and go to dessert joke? Okay. And as always, we invite you to join
the Wrevolution.
Have a good night, guys.
Have a fantastic night.